Another one? What's with these guys?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Red United TV. It's your boy, Ivorian Spice, and we are back with the catch-up volume 83, the 83rd edition of this catch-up, where we discuss our beloved team, Manchester United, and of course, we touch on Premier League. We can wrap up with the big games, especially the big teams to talk about. But big up to you who are tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, and also remember to share, because sharing Ivorian Spice is caring, and press that notification bell so you can be the first one whenever anything pops up on Red United TV. You'll be the first one to watch. And of course, if you want to contribute to the channel, always click on the link description. You can contribute via PayPal or support us now while we're live. Send us a super chat. And if you're watching on Facebook, guys, send a star to help contribute to the channel. And if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you click that follow button and join the Twitch family. But of course, we're here to discuss football. We're just here to discuss Manchester United team. So of course, we have our panel. Let me introduce you to the panel. Of course, we've got Jegs, we've got Jerome. First of all, let's start off with you, Jegs. It's been a long time. Welcome. It's been for like 5 years ever since you last appeared here, man.
I'm out here feeling like a prodigal son, man. It's good to be back, bro. You know, I've been doing this reffing thing. I've been busy, but it's good to be back. I feel at home being on this show, so let's get it started, man.
Yes, definitely. And of course, Jack, we have Jerome as well, the usual guy, always here, forever present, never misses a day off. You know, what's up, Jerome? How you been?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. I'm always happy to be here. That's why I'm here as much as I can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the show, getting into the results and the performances, and yeah, let's just see what happens this week, really, going forward.
Definitely. As you know, Manchester United got a game against Tottenham, which we can probably look at it later on during the show if we've got time. But let's start it off straight off, because it is Manchester United 0, Newcastle 0. Manchester United unable to get 3 points against Newcastle. The Geordies, the Tsunamis, doing so well against Manchester United. A resilient defense from Newcastle that showed. And again, it just outlined the problems of Manchester United. Unable to break the lines, unable to break a bank of 4, just unable to just break the low block. And it seems to be this last season syndrome that keeps repeating itself. Of course, Manchester United had their chances, the best chances falling to Marcus Rashford towards the end. And of course, there was a penalty decision that should have, possibly in my opinion, gone. But it is what it is. Manchester United drawing against Newcastle on a Sunday, letting us Manchester United fans, while our ops doing well, you know, let's get straight into it. Let me see who wants to kick it off the show. Since Jegs, you haven't been on for a very long time, let me put it on you to start us and kick us off.
It was a difficult watch, man, watching that game, because being at home, you expected us to go out and start the first half, especially on the front foot. But you would have thought we was playing at Newcastle's gaff, the way Newcastle were putting it on us in that first half. Jonathan, he hit the bar a couple of times. They were just attacking us, really. Obviously, we had a couple of chances, but I think in the whole game, we hit the target just twice. So that shows you that we wasn't really doing much in that game in terms of putting pressure on their goalkeeper. This is a season where we haven't really won a game more than a margin of 1 goal, bar maybe Arsenal 3-1, and then we played Sheriff and we beat them 2-0. It's showing the problems we have in our attacking play. We need another striker, in my opinion, most definitely. And the fact that we didn't have Eriksen in that game as well, I think it just showed that our midfield is not solid at the moment. You know, Bruno's been quiet. He hasn't really been doing much for a long time now. And top four is looking like a myth. Top four is looking like a big myth right now. Not a great game to watch, but we move.
Definitely moving. Jerome, what about you, bro?
Yeah, just to add on what Jegs was saying, it was another frustrating watch following on from the Europa League game last Thursday. It's like the guys just carried on where they left off, really. Just toothless in attack, lacking creativity in midfield. It just makes you think we spent all this money over the last few years and we're not getting our returns on our investment because we're crying out for more creativity in midfield, and it's an absolute embarrassment that we're having to rely on Eriksen, who came on a free transfer, who, let's be real, wasn't even supposed to be our main guy. He was just meant to complement the team, but he's actually our main guy now, and we felt that his presence was missed on Sunday against Newcastle. So it's looking like Erik ten Hag doesn't have many options to choose from when Eriksen's not playing, because for us to be playing 2 DMs at home against Newcastle, it's a bit embarrassing, really. We shouldn't be playing 2 DMs against Newcastle at home. We should be going out there, putting an attacking lineup and just cutting through them and creating lots of chances. But for some reason, we're not creating that much clear-cut chances. And when we do create the chances, our strikers ain't taking them. And that's very frustrating. Like, I don't want to keep going on to Rashford because he'll probably have a good game against Tottenham, but he's so inconsistent. It's like this guy needs like 5 or 6 chances a game just to score 1 goal. So I think the game against Newcastle has highlighted where the problems are, because we're actually quite solid in defence. Apart from that first half where Joelinton hit the crossbar and the post, we didn't really concede that many chances after that. So the only positive that I can see we could take from the game is that our defence is, apart from the Man City game, our defence is quite solid, and that's a good foundation to go forward. But we really, really need to start being more clinical in front of goal, and we need to fix our midfield and just hope that Eriksen's fit and we're able to use it for as much as we can throughout this season. Otherwise, right now, top 4 is looking extremely difficult with the current setup. So even looking further ahead, we're going to need reinforcements in January for sure if we're serious about challenging for the top 4. Because as it stands, we're struggling to score goals and we're struggling to beat teams convincingly, even if we are dominating possession. So the only thing I could take from the game is that, like I said, our defence has improved, and we did improve in performance in that second half. And in all honesty, Rashford should have buried that header right at the end. That's an absolute sitter. And that, as I said, that just tells us all we need to know about where we need to strengthen, really.
Absolutely. We need to strengthen. It is the midfield, and we definitely needed a striker, man. Even the post that I saw, I don't know if I saw it from on Twitter that says Manchester United midfield is awful. We need to improve it. One of the big Twitter handlers. But on top of that, guys, my thoughts on the game, of course, with Manchester United, the way they started was slow. You can see that they could have done better. Newcastle had the better chances. Let's be real and let's be honest. Newcastle themselves, if you can see that they created a lot of chances, caused a lot of trouble. Caused a lot of trouble, and on top of that, Joelinton himself, hitting that post. Whew, what a problem that was. And Manchester United themselves not creating as much chances as they should be. As you're right, Jerome, not clinical at all, enough, and especially when we have the small slack chances. In the second half, slightly better where Manchester United amped up the pressure and the speed. But however, again, the low blocks, unable to beat them. And when you have someone like Eriksen not there, it really shows. It really shows that Manchester United lack creativity you know, in midfield. It just shows that we need more. And Fred ain't enough, you know. Fred playing at the same time. People can argue, why didn't Scott McTominay play? Why did Donny van de Beek play if he was fit? Why didn't anyone else play but Fred? I'll be honest with you, it probably would have ended up in the same result, you know, because these players that we've seen that's been tried and tested, we just know that they're not good enough and they won't be as creative as they should be. You know, it is what it is with Manchester United, man. Like, what can we say? Like, they're just too inconsistent, a jammy team.
But given,
Go on,
I'm
Judge.
just gonna add, bro. Given the fact that we'd only had 1 or 2 attempts on target, I would have thought Erik ten Hag would have utilized the bench a bit more. You know, maybe take off a DM in Fred and put on another attacking player. The only substitute he made was Ronaldo for Rashford, and that in itself was a problem for me, man. At 70 minutes, I was screaming, "Get another attacker on! We need to do something." 0-0 at home is an abysmal result, man. Against Newcastle, it's not good enough.
I really don't think Erik ten Hag trusts his bench at the moment. It's similar to when we had Oli in charge, where he just wasn't using his bench. But I think this time the situation is slightly different with Erik ten Hag because he has less players to choose from than Oli did, and you can see we've got a few youngsters on the bench, and I think he's reluctant to throw them on in a game of that level because he ideally wants to introduce the youngsters when the team's winning and playing well, so they could just come and slot into a confident team and not a frustrating team. So I can understand why he was reluctant to use the bench, and he only really used Rashford because we don't want to destroy our young players. These players are part of our future, so that's the only reason why I wouldn't complain too much about the lack of substitutions. But it just shows you that we need to strengthen in January and make sure we try and get 1 or 2 reinforcements in to strengthen that bench, because at the moment we're looking a bit light. The bench is definitely looking light, and I do kind of agree why Erik ten Hag didn't really utilise the bench.
It would be good to see some youngsters. I'm not going to lie, though. At least 1 or 2. I'd like to see Erik ten Hag bring in someone from the academy, ideally a Garnacho. Bring him in. Give him an opportunity. Because a lot of these first-team players, they've had opportunity after opportunity, and they just haven't done it, and they're not currently not doing it. You know,
I think
we're winning games by 1-0, 2-1. We're not dominating games. We're not putting teams away. Even the Arsenal game when we won 3-1, in a way, we was lucky to win that game 3-1. You know, so a lot needs to be done. But I'm not going to put too much pressure on ETH because for me personally, I'm giving him 2 seasons, 4 transfer windows. You know?
I think he'll probably do the same 2 DMs against Spurs and Chelsea just because of the level of opposition. But I think after that, he should have a bit more sort of, I'd say, leeway to play some of the youngsters, because we're going to be playing like at least 2 games a week now between now and the World Cup, and he's going to need to utilise the squad. We're going to need to see some of these youngsters eventually. I don't know what the situation is with Donny, how long he's out for, because that seems to be a kept secret. This guy seems to be missing.
Oh, is he injured?
Apparently he's injured. From his last press conference, I remember before the game against the Europa League game, he stated that Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Donny van de Beek are injured, and it's just, we don't even know what they're injured about. What's the injury? Like, have they got an injured calf, or it's just code for that they're not just not in the team. Like,
they're literally keeping it under wraps. I'm not even gonna lie. I know people. I know the fans are split between whether Donny's good enough for United, but I've been speaking to a few people, and people are saying that we need to play him and try something different. But we just don't know what the situation is with him, because we can't continue long term with this 2 DMs thing against all teams in the Prem. Maybe against the top 6, you can understand that, but obviously we know Newcastle's improved now with the investments that they've made, but we need to come out of our chest and stop being a bit too cautious and just go out there and express ourselves.
I agree.
So I think that's why that fans now are crying out for Donny. And
I think so.
Other players in the
even
team.
Me too. I don't rate Donny.
Level
and even I want to see like what the other half of the fans are talking about. Even though I feel like he's not good enough, but the other half think Donny deserves a chance. even though Eric Ten Hag don't think he deserves a chance.
Mhm.
So give him a chance, isn't it? Without
Yeah.
Ericsson in there, I think Donny is
Absolutely.
the only player that can create a little bit more.
Mhm.
Spending 70 M's on a world-class DM and having to play 2 DMs doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense.
It's true. It doesn't, to be honest. But yeah, I think Donny should come in eventually when he's fit, because we need something different in that middle of the park, because Fred can't pass or shoot. And I think the fan base has had enough of Fred, if I'm going to be brutally honest with you. He's been at United for what, 6 years now?
Mhm.
At least 6 years. He hasn't done anything. So he hasn't cemented that midfield. So we need something different. And maybe Donny might get his chance to show us all whether he is good enough or not, because he could surely add something different than what Donny and than what Bruno and Fred are offering, because we need something different, because otherwise we're just going to go out every week and be predictable. If we do another Fred and Casemiro, our opposition is just going to have a feel there. It's going to be like, oh, let's just copy what Newcastle did. Just frustrate them, because Fred can't pass and he can't shoot. So we definitely need to make change, even if it's not even Donny, even if it's Iqbal or Garnacho or something. We just need to do something. Maybe not against Spurs and against Spurs and Chelsea because of their quality, but going forward, we need to start trying different things, because I have to see this season as a more experimental season. We're not going to win the Premiership.
Yeah.
We're just going to have a run for the top 4, which at the moment it's going to be like touch and go. But we need to start just utilising the squad and seeing who's going to be like here long term for next season.
I'm just gonna stop you there. Big up to Kill Maestro that says Man United win the league. Hope so. Hope so. He says argument done. No more talking. Kill Maestro says Pelestri, best juvenile in the camp right now, and of course Facundo Greenwood. But yeah, we also got Kill Maestro that says Fred over Donny van den Beek. You know, that's probably gonna just hey. Don't look at that comment.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah. I didn't see it.
Yeah, Bob's is saying that, yeah, or even Zidane Iqbal, you know, which I don't understand, you know. And Kimash says panel sounds straight up ungrateful. We're not ungrateful at all, man. But yes, guys, another incident that took place during the match is Ronaldo coming off, muttering to himself, that shaking his head like he should have never came off. But then again, you look at the whole entire game, it's like, Ronaldo, you didn't really do anything for you to be shaking your head and be like, how you going to take me off and all that kind of stuff, man? Which, again, I have nothing against that, because, of course, it just shows that he believes in himself and he knows that he's a match winner, and taking him off, he's probably thinking, I could win the game for you. But then again, the output that he's given to us in that game wasn't good enough. And I can understand Rashford coming in to add the pace in the center to just try and break the lines of Newcastle. What's your guys' thoughts on the Ronaldo shaking his head and going crazy?
I think
he did shake the manager's head.
He did, yeah. He did shake the manager's hand. He did show his respect there, but I think it's just his ego. He's probably thinking, I'm Ronaldo, I'm the GOAT. You should not be substituting me off. Even if I'm playing shit, please do not sub me off. Like, I don't want to be like looking like I'm not playing well or I'm surplus to requirements. It's just the ego thing. He just feels entitled to always start and just always be on the pitch. But he was probably more frustrated in his own performance, to be honest with you, because when he'll look back on it, he'll be thinking, I didn't really play well. I didn't really do much in the game. So obviously I'm shaking my head, but he's probably more disappointed in himself. That's how I interpreted it when he was shaking his head on the touchline, because he wasn't playing well. We had to do something. We couldn't not put another forward on to try and score a goal, because nothing was happening. I don't even remember any real chance that Ronaldo had, to be honest. So I don't see why he would be like upset about being subbed, if I'm going to be brutally honest.
It's Ronaldo, man. Come on, man. Ronaldo's a winner, man. Ronaldo's the GOAT. He's one of the best players that ever graced football. Of course, he's going to be pissed off if he's taken off. And
he's playing crap.
Of course, I heard that. Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been taken off. If anything, I would have put Rashford on top of having Ronaldo still on the pitch, only because we needed to have more attackers on the pitch and we needed to fight for those 3 points. We're just in a bit of an embarrassing situation where Ronaldo doesn't want to be here. And you can tell by his facial expressions on the bench, when he's being pulled off again against Newcastle. He just doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And it's United's fault for forcing him to stay, to be
And
honest.
funny
So,
enough, I don't think Eric Ten Hag wants him there either. If I'm going to be
Yeah,
honest.
no,
There you go.
I think so,
There you go.
because he was really open for him to leave,
Yeah.
when he was speaking to the boys, said he doesn't mind if Ronaldo leaves. In fact, it probably helps him in the way he wants to play football instead of
Yeah.
accommodating the way he has to play just for Cristiano Ronaldo. Moving on from Ronaldo, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes, because I am had it up to here with Bruno Fernandes for the last 2 years. Yeah, I know that he's been great, he's been excellent, he's provided a lot of assists and all that kind of stuff. The GA is fantastic, but so far, Bruno has had a poor season in terms of his input, in terms of his output, everything regarding Manchester United. He's just been poor. Like the game against Newcastle, didn't do anything, didn't create, didn't do much in top for running up and down like a headless chicken and getting himself stuck in the game. Should we be worried about Bruno Fernandes, guys?
I am
Yes.
deeply worried about
Yes.
Bruno Fernandes. I think everyone knows my thoughts on Bruno. He's been crap last season and he's carried it on to this season. And the only time where I saw him making a big impact on the team was in his early spells under Oli in the first year and a half.
The
where
free
he was
roll.
playing freestyle football
Mhm.
and he was given the freedom to do whatever he wanted on the pitch. Now that he's been asked to play in an actual system, he's struggling. And now you can see why no top club, apart from Spurs, went in for him, because this guy doesn't know how to play in the system. He doesn't actually know how to influence a game. He's almost like he's not playing for the team. He's playing for himself with all these hero balls and just doing what he wants on the pitch. He's not actually fitting in to any sort of style. So that's why we're seeing the performances from Bruno. He's just like you say, he's just a headless chicken out there, just on his own. It's almost like we're playing with 10 men because he's not actually contributing anything or doing anything significant for the team. Like we've seen, I think even they said it on Match of the Day, like his influence on the team has waned from his first season and up till now. He's literally on a downward trajectory. And right now, I just think that he just needs to be taken out of the limelight and just given a break. Someone else needs to come in. Obviously, Eriksen, if he's back fit, he can take his place. But we need someone else to fill his position, because if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what is his role in Man United apart from just being up front. Because I thought he was brought in to play in the midfield, but I don't see him doing anything in midfield. He's just almost playing as a second striker, and he's not actually helping out the midfield. That's why a lot of teams run through us comfortably in our midfield, and he's not providing any support. He's not assisting. Even in his last game, he was playing rugby, skying his shots into the stands. He's not showing anything to give me any confidence that he's our long-term solution to help us win things. And he hasn't actually got a history of winning anything wherever he's been. He's not an actual winner. And he doesn't perform against top teams. And right now, he's not even performing against the medium teams, let alone the teams in the Europa League. So yeah, I don't know where we go with Bruno, to be honest.
I'm not going to write him off completely, because for me, he's shown us what he can do, albeit a couple years back, 18 months ago, but he has shown us what he can do. For me, the issue is the lack of competition in the squad, because if we had a better number 10, Bruno would have been riding bench for a minute now. And I feel like if we could put a better number 10 in there and bring Bruno out for at least 2, 3, 4 games, we can maybe see a little bit more from him coming off the bench, or just from him being on the bench, not wanting to remain on the bench, and him upping his game. But I agree with most of what you said, Jerome. I don't know what's happened to Bruno. I'm trying to think of what's happened, but we're just looking at a different player right now. And until we can remove him from the squad, until we can remove him from the squad and give him a break, we're just going to be seeing the same old Bruno, unfortunately. I think Eric Ten Hag needs to scrutinize his next couple of performances and take him out the squad, man. Like, no one should be guaranteed a spot. If you can take Maguire out, he should be able to take Bruno out, you know? So Chelsea and Tottenham, if we don't see anything from Bruno, then we have to take him out, because like you say, sometimes it's like playing with 10 men. the amount of times he loses the ball, and it's just not good enough. Just not good enough, man.
I'll be very surprised if he does anything against Spurs and Chelsea, because notoriously he doesn't perform against top opposition anyway. So right now I would just say that if Eriksen can't just need to take him out and put Eriksen. If Eriksen's fit, Eriksen can play the number 10 role and play the 2 DMs against Spurs and Chelsea. That's how I would go, because this is top opposition and we don't want to get embarrassed at Old Trafford against Spurs, and we don't want someone that's going to keep continuing to give the ball away and sky the ball into the stands. So yeah, we definitely need something different against Spurs on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. Bruno, again, I was hoping that he improves himself, because I was one of the guys that genuinely believed that having the manager of Erik ten Hag can help him improve in terms of his position awareness, his ball distribution, because, at times it's just a hit and hope footballer. He freestyles his way. So I thought with genuine coaching, someone to just guide him in the way he wants to play football, Bruno improved tremendously. I'm still hoping that will change, because again, it's early days under Erik ten Hag. We got to like Jack said, 2 seasons of seeing it. If next season happens to be so, they bring in another number 10 and they're happy to replace Bruno, so it be, because again, Jax was right. He needs genuine competition for places for him to see himself and say, you know what? I need to step up my game. I need to completely change off my game and be the Kevin De Bruyne that Manchester United need, because we need someone like that. We thought we were going to get someone like that with them amazing assists and the amazing goal. We thought we were going to get a midfielder that could probably do better than Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne's fantastic at assisting. In terms of the goal output compared to Bruno Fernandes, Bruno outshines him in that position there. Just the assist is quite different, different level when it comes to Kevin De Bruyne.
Sorry, one last thing, just to add to that. I think if Erik ten Hag got the midfielder that he wanted, if he got Frankie de Jong, in addition to Eriksen will now be playing in that number 10 role, and Bruno will be on the bench.
Yeah.
So because we don't have that Frankie de Jong type role, we're forced to play Eriksen further back. And that's why, like you and Jake said, Bruno doesn't have that competition in that number 10 role. It's almost like a vacant position where it's just his role. So until we adjust that and make reinforcements, we're going to still see Bruno in the starting 11 and putting up those performances, because due to a lack of options and Erik ten Hag's reluctance to put the youngsters in.
Well, let's hope that Erik ten Hag signs someone in January or uses one of the youngsters, which I'm surprised he hasn't really been using the Zidane Iqbal that everyone's been talking about during the whole preseason, which he was impressive, or try Charlie Savage or someone in that midfield to see whether there's a difference. If you're not going to give the opportunity to Donny van de Beek, then give it to someone else. Like, let's see them play, let's see something. Moving on from that, guys, of course, we ended there regarding Manchester United. We move on to the other matches. Of course, guys, the biggest game of the weekend was played. Liverpool versus Manchester City. Liverpool winning 1-0, where Manchester City was denied a goal due to Erling Haaland being his usual self, a naturally strong Viking with his strengthening one of the Liverpool's players, for it to end up being disallowed. Again, guys, Liverpool win against Man City. It means a lot for Liverpool, but they're still not still nowhere near us, still not in the top 6, not in the top 7. But it's a dent for Manchester City's title run. What was your guys' thoughts on the game for Liverpool and Manchester City?
Yeah, I think Liverpool deserved it in the end, to be honest. I don't think Man City were their usual fluid self. I didn't watch the full game, if I'm going to be honest with you. I watched the highlights. But from what I saw, Liverpool definitely deserved their win. There's a bit of magic from Salah, who hasn't been really playing well during the early stages of the season. And Liverpool's defence looked quite solid overall. Van Dijk had a good game. City's midfield weren't really their usual slick self. So, yeah, from what I saw, I think apart from that disallowed goal for Man City with Foden, I think that Liverpool are good value for their now victory, to be honest. And what it does, it's it's kind of put Liverpool back in the mix for this top 4 race, because I just checked the table. They're only 3 points behind us now.
What?
And we're 5th. Yeah, they're only 3 points behind us, and they got a better goal difference. So we need to be looking over our shoulders, because if we lose against Spurs and they win the next game, they're ahead of us on goal difference. So Liverpool basically winning has basically just opened things up in that top 4 race and at the top of the table. So yeah, we should be definitely a bit worried now.
Definitely. It's similar to Jerome. I didn't really watch the whole game. I saw a bit of the highlights. I was surprised that Milner was starting at right back, and Man City didn't really capitalize on that, you know. This guy's 35, 36, and he done a decent job, to be fair. Salah had 2 great opportunities to score. One was a great save from Alisson, and the second was a goal. Very surprised that Liverpool came away with the 3 points. But it just shows that, personally, I thought Liverpool were going to have, this season was a write-off for them, but it's showing that nothing, it's too early to call anything, you know. Liverpool can still compete at the top. And again, we're not talking about Arsenal right now, but in the same breath, I'd like to say that Arsenal could finish the season 4th. Everyone's saying that they're title contenders, but it's still very early to judge these teams, you know. So we need to just wait until at least the World Cup and then see where we are come January with the league positions and how the teams are performing. But it looked like a very fiery game, a lot of talking points from the game. Great game to watch. I'm just gutted that I missed out on watching it.
Hey, you missed out on a good game, man. For those who are still watching, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, remember to share as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and keep your questions related to Manchester United or any other team. But again, what Jez was saying, moving on to Arsenal themselves, who surprisingly won against Leeds away. A game like that, Arsenal probably would have ended up losing. The old Arsenal would have. But Arsenal surprising us again with a win against Leeds after a difficult second half for them, which they could have ended up doing with Patrick Bamford missing a penalty. Arsenal surprising us all, doing so well. 5 points up top, 5 points clear at the top of the table. Now say it again. Arsenal right now to me is like an elephant on top of a tree trunk, and you're wondering, how the fuck did you get up there? But you know that tree is falling down and that elephant is going to fall down really hard. Arsenal finished 4th. It's the truth. You're thinking, how the fuck is Arsenal on top of the table? How the fuck did that elephant get up there? You know?
Hey, listen, this time last season, yeah, where were Arsenal? I swear they were near the bottom. And then they just started climbing.
They lost their first few games. Yeah.
It could be reversed.
Yes. Relegation zone last season if you watched the All or Nothing.
But you know what I think it is? You can't be a hater, man. You got to give them their props, man. They've done well so far. Obviously, all they can do is take it game by game. But football's a beautiful thing, man. Who knows? Leicester won the Premier League. Arsenal can do it.
I just want to say that.
But go on,
I think the way I see it, this is a different Arsenal from last season, because there's been a few games this season where those wins could have easily been draws. So for some reason now, they've got that bit extra. They've got some luck on their side, and they've got extra bite in their team. A refusal to lose and to concede chances, because Leeds did play well yesterday and they deserved at least a draw with the Bamford missed penalty. And I saw they had like a few clear-cut chances. They actually had Arsenal rattled in that game. So Arsenal could see themselves a bit fortunate to go away with 3 points. But as I said, that sort of game last season, they would have drawn or lost. So there's definitely a difference in this Arsenal team, and we have to take them seriously this season, because to win 9 games in your first 10 is no easy task to do. And I don't even think United have done that sort of run in the first 10 games. So we definitely have to give them credit. But as Jake said, it's still early, still the first 9-10 games. You got to wait until the halfway stage, until after the World Cup, to see how everyone's shaping up and where everyone is in the league table, because all it takes is a couple of defeats and you're back down there.
Couple of defeats, couple injuries.
Literally a couple of draws, couple of defeats, and it all changes. Like, it changed for Liverpool yesterday. 1 win, and now all of a sudden people are saying they can get back into the top 4 now, because that win against arguably the best team in Europe right now, even though they're second in the league, because they're doing well in the Champions League. That will give them confidence moving forward to go on a run now. So everyone needs to just like wake up and take notice that anything could happen now. Arsenal could end up finishing fourth. United could even stay out of the top four. Liverpool could get in the top four. Tottenham could fall down. Chelsea actually doing well, surprisingly. So there's so much variables and so much different things going on right now that it's too early to predict anything. But right now, Arsenal do deserve some respect because I've been called out a few times. I've seen someone giving me indirects on Instagram saying that Arsenal needs some respect, and I'm referring to United fans. That's what they said. So I'm giving them their respect now, because they're top of the league. There's a bit of a gap now. So yeah, you gotta just just say well done for now. But obviously it's just the quarter of the stage of the season, so there's still a long way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you guys. Me, I'm not hating on Arsenal right now. I open my eyes and I look at them as some kind of title contender, challenging for the Premier League. Because right now, we're in November. Arsenal are still on top of the table. Like, are you not going to fall off? But I have to give credit to them because, as you said, Jerome, like, there's games where you would have thought Arsenal would have lost, this game, especially when they were down a goal and they come back and turn things around. Even the game against Leeds, where especially if you watch the second half, guys, Arsenal themselves and Arsenal fans will tell you now that they were just hanging there. They're hanging in thread, but they found a way, and they showed resilience, and that's what you need, and that's the makings of the characteristics of a champion, at the end of the season. So it's interesting to see how Arsenal will do, because right now they're competing with Manchester City. The other teams such as Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool and Tottenham, we've all been inconsistent, and Arsenal have been the only team that's been consistent. Apart from losing to Manchester United, they haven't lost to anyone.
And even against us, they played very well. So
some
say we were lucky as well.
Yeah.
At times.
But the only thing I must say is that it's a marathon and not a sprint, and maybe this is the best that we're seeing of Arsenal. Maybe this is their peak. Chelsea, United, even Man City, Liverpool, Spurs. Like you said, they're all inconsistent and they haven't even hit their heights yet. So if that's anything to go by, we could have been in an upward trajectory in the second half of the season. And because Arsenal technically they're playing their best and peaked, they could essentially get worse because they can't get any better than what they're doing now, in my opinion, because they've surprised everyone.
Absolutely.
I think Arsenal just needs to keep their players fit. If they can keep their starting 11 fit this season, then boy,
they definitely got a chance. But this Man City team, their bench, and they can go up a level. I think with, like you said, with Arsenal, a couple of injuries and they'll be struggling.
They're stuffed. Yeah.
Man City, a couple of injuries, they can just take a couple of players off the bench and they wouldn't be any weaker.
And with City, they tend to go on stupid runs, like they'll win 15 matches in a row.
Yeah, I don't think any. That's a good shout. I don't think anyone else can do that in the league right now. That go on 10, 15 consecutive wins at any moment.
City can do that. So
that's why it's still City's to lose, really.
Yeah. In other words, Arsenal fan, it's a Mo Farah thing, not an Usain Bolt thing. This race. But that is it, guys. We have come to the end of the show. Big up to everyone that's tuned in, watched as well. Over 100 of you that watched on YouTube, couple that watched on Facebook, and some watching on Twitch. Big up to everyone. Of course, this is the part where I plug in the guys, where you can find out exactly where you can find them. So I'm going to start off with you, Jegs, and then after that, Jerome. Where can the people find you, Jegs?
I don't really use the socials too much, but you can find me on Instagram, Jegs_United.
And Jerome?
Yeah. The people can find me on Instagram as well, and the username JWilliams_1.
And of course, guys, you can find me personally, Ivorian_Spice. That's a Snapchat, that is Twitter, and that's also Instagram. And if for those who want to follow Red United TV on Instagram, approaching 15,000 followers, 200 followers away, that you can follow us straight, Red United TV 1. And if you want to follow on Twitch, which is Red United TV, and Facebook as well, Red United MUFC. If you find on the Facebook page, the Facebook page is on 6.5 followers, soon to catch 10,000 followers by the end of this year, hopefully. But yes, guys, you see me next week on Monday. We've got the watch along on Wednesday against Tottenham. Let's hope we win. But until next time, as always, guys, as I always say, remember to keep it united and remember to keep it Red United. God bless. Peace and love from me, Jegs, and Jerome. We see you next week. Peace.
Peace.